Skin Boy. This is VOP TV. If you're not watching VOP, I don't know what you're watching. Maybe you're watching your weight.
Hello, beautiful people. This is Wale Ojo, and you're watching VOP, Voice of the People.
Hi, guys. You already know who it is. This is New Energy. Flyers, whatever, live it. Keep watching VOP TV. Thank you.
Hi, people. Jide Albano here. Guys, please keep watching Voice of the People.
The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as it is hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOP TV. Entertainment like never before.
Welcome to Kitty's Corner. Every weekend is a new journey. Join Auntie Oni as she embarks on thrilling adventures. Each episode takes the young explorers to a different fantastical world filled with exciting challenges, making new friends and learning valuable life lessons. The show begins with lots of excitement in a cozy storytelling mood. Fairies teach the importance of kindness, honesty, bravery, teamwork, or curiosity. Kitty's Corner is a delightful blend of fun, education, and imagination with catchy songs, interactive games, and heartwarming stories. Join Auntie Oni every Saturday, 10 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. on Voice of the People television. Kitty's Corner, perfect destination for curious minds.
To know the happenings in the maritime sector, join us on the program Maritime Frontiers on VOP TV as we discuss key areas in the maritime sector from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations, and lots more. Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy.
2564 The 2564 Atlantic Tower.
What happens in the hush behind hangar doors? Who signs the papers that gamble with lives? Which truths were grounded before they even ever had wings? If you've ever buckled a seatbelt at 30,000 feet, if you've ever stared out of that tiny window and wondered who's really in control of the skies, it isn't just flight, it's power, it's politics, it's pressure sealed in steel. We're peeling back the clouds from runway risks to sky-high secrets. We're diving deep where most dare not to look. Aviation Scope, every Sunday at 7 p.m. only on Voice of the People TV. We don't just report, we reveal. We don't just ask, we uncover. Because when it comes to the skies, ignorance is turbulence. Aviation Scope, the sky isn't the limit, it's just the beginning.
From the views on the street
We go to bed empty hunger.
to the blaring horns of a hustling city, the loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lodge.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV, youthful, full of vigor and penchant for excellence in the continent's media space, exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, dissecting the news without fear or favor, through factual and accurate stories and contents,
Corruption kills three things that makes a society.
representing the interests of the people and giving them a voice. Voice of the People TV is here to stay towards building a fair society. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television, truly a voice for the people. VOP TV, now you have more than a voice. Asu Rock is a large outcrop of granitic rock located on the outskirts of Abuja, the capital of Nigeria. It's a 400-meter prominent monolith with a peak height of 936 meters above sea level. It's one of the city's most noticeable features. The Nigerian Presidential Complex, Nigerian National Assembly, and Nigerian Supreme Courts are located around it. Much of the city extends to the south of the rock. Aso means victorious in the native language of the Asokoro people, the ethnic group predominant in the area. Asokoro means the people of victory. This was the site of the 2003 Aso Rock Declaration, issued by the head.
Well, hello and welcome to the Midday News and Voice of the People Television. I am David Edwin. First, the headlines. Pat Otomi accuses politicians of failing Nigerians. Lai Mohammed insists Lekki Tollgate massacre did not happen. PSC, please start drive to recruit 50,000 constables. Okonjo-Iweala, more Abudu, make forest most powerful women list. Malami says EFCC probe focused on Abacha loot duplication. And the People's Democratic Party, Governor Adeleke, a victim of a circumstance. In the world of business, FEC approves new BOI headquarters at Eco Atlantic. And in sports, Victor Osimhen wins Sportsman of the Year prize in Turkey. In entertainment, This Is Not a Nollywood Movie premieres in Lagos. Now the news in full. Political economics professor Pat Otomi says Nigeria's political class has fallen short of citizens' expectations leaving the nation near the aspiration once held by its young people. Speaking on the sidelines of the 15th anniversary of Enough is Enough Nigeria in Lagos, Otomi said leadership failures remain central to the country's slow development. And away from that report, former Information Minister Alhaji Lai Mohammed has again insisted there was no massacre at Lekki Tollgate during NSAS protests. His comment followed a CNN report on the October 2020 incident, alleging that soldiers fired live rounds at protesters. The army has repeatedly denied that claim, saying only blank bullets were used to enforce the curfew. In a TV interview, Mohammed said no one has denied that fatalities occurred during the wilder unrest in Abuja, Lagos, and Kano, but he specifically challenged CNN's report, arguing the network relied on second-hand information and not what was at the scene. He also claimed that 5 years, no family have reported missing relative from the toll gates, describing the massacre narrative as fake news. Mohammed added that during the protest, his own family urged him to resign amid intense online and offline pressure, including threats to their businesses. Moving on, the Police Service Commission, in collaboration with the Nigerian Police Force, has begun the recruitment of 50,000 police constables following approval from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The PSC says the exercise aligns with the President's directive to strengthen community policing, boost internal security, and increase police manpower. According to a statement by the head of Protocol and Public Affairs, Toti Kalu, the recruitment portal will be open to eligible Nigerians from December the 15th, 2025 to January the 25th, 2026. In the meantime, President Bola Tinubu has ordered ministers and senior government officials to seek his approval before requesting police escorts for official duties. The directive was issued during the Federal Executive Council meeting at the State House in Abuja. President Tinubu said security lapses often occur when officials are reassigned without proper replacement, stressing the need for better coordination among security agencies. He instructed the National Security Advisor and the DSS to review the country's security structure and make necessary adjustments. The president did say that the directive takes immediate effect, citing heightened security threats nationwide. Moving on, President Bola Tinubu has expressed displeasure over a backlog of about 1.5 billion naira owed to the federal contractors. He has set up a high-level committee to clear the bottleneck and ensure prompt repayments. The president's reaction was disclosed by his special advisor on information and strategy, Bayo Ononuga, while briefing State House correspondents after the Federal Executive Council meeting in Abuja. Ononuga did say that Tinubu was angered to learn that about 2,000 contractors are being owed and has demanded a one-stop solution to resolving the issues. And in the Green Chamber, House of Representatives has summoned Olaimi Cardoso, the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, and other relevant agencies to appear before its Public Accounts Committee on Tuesday, December the 16th, to explain the non-remittance of over 5 trillion naira operating surplus and 11 trillion naira government revenue. This is sequel to a motion moved by Bamidele Salam, chairman of the Public Accounts Committee PAC, during plenary. During the debate, Salam briefed lawmakers on PAC's finding from its investigation into the Auditor General's report for the 2022 financial year and the administration of the remitter revenue collection system by the CBN between March the 1st, 2015 and April the 30th, 2016, I beg your pardon.
Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended
and other extant fiscal and financial management laws of the Federation. The House also notes that under the Fiscal Responsibility Act 2007, the Central Bank of Nigeria Act 2007, the Finance Act 2020,
Honorable Pondi. Honorable Pondi. Honorable Pondi. Please approach the chair.
Subsidiary legislation. The Central Bank of Nigeria is mandated to collect, account for, and remit all federal government revenues through the remitter platform into designated government account in a transparent, efficient manner in line with regulatory standards. Aware that the House of Representatives, through the Public Accounts Committee, is duly empowered by sections 85.5, 88, and 89 of the 1999 Constitution, as well as Order 20, Rule 6 of the Standing Orders of the House of Representatives, 11th edition, to consider the Auditor General's report and to conduct investigations into the general and specific areas of Nigeria's public financial management. Also aware that in the course of ongoing investigation by the Public Accounts Committee into the Auditor General's report for the year 2022 financial year, as well as the administration of the remitter revenue collection system by the Central Bank of Nigeria, covering the period from 1st of March 2015 to the 30th of April 2016, the committee uncovered the following. 1, that the Central Bank has an undisputed liability of 5.2 trillion naira in unpaid operating surpluses due to the federal government of Nigeria for the year ended 2016 to 2020, which has remained unremitted till date.
Still in the Green Chamber, lawmakers asked the Central Bank of Nigeria, Nisrael Microfinance Bank, and the Federal Ministry of Finance to immediately suspend all deduction on COVID-19 intervention loans. In a resolution following a motion of urgent public importance sponsored by Deputy Chairman of the House of Representatives of Committee of Finance, Saidu Abdullahi, the House asked the relevant agencies of government to put into consideration the inability of Nigerians to pay back the loan due to current harsh economic conditions.
The world experienced a major pandemic, COVID-19, that led to the closure of the global economy. And this had negative impact on economic activities and even on low-income earners. Mr. Speaker, as a result, government across the globe came up with stimulus packages in order to sustain livelihoods and lives of the vulnerable groups. Unfortunately, recovery across the globe has not been even. And it's even more worse in the case of our country because of the twin reforms embarked upon by this current administration at the onset of the administration. As a result, it has become almost impossible for Nigerians to meet up with the repayment commitment. So I'm coming up with a motion this morning under Order 8-5 to look at the urgent need to grant total waiver on outstanding COVID-19 survival loans for vulnerable Nigerian households and micro businesses and to restructure the SME component of the facility. Mr. Speaker, I also crave the indulgence of the House to suspend all relevant rules so that the motion will be taken this morning under the specified rule. I so submit, Mr. Speaker.
In other news, Nigerian Okonjo-Iweala and Mo Abudu have been named among Forbes 100 World's Most Powerful Women for 2025. The list recognizes influential women in business, politics, culture, and global leadership, highlighting the growing impact of Nigerian women in global trade. And Iweala, ranked 92nd, is the Director General of the World Trade Organization, the first woman and first African to lead the body since assuming office in 2021. Forbes described her as an economist with more than 3 decades of international development experience. Media entrepreneur and Ebony Live founder Mo Abudu ranked 98, was recognized for expanding African storytelling globally. Abudu Live TV, launched in 2006, now airs in over 49 countries and has now secured major partnership deals with Sony Pictures Television, AMC Network, and Netflix, becoming the first African media company to sign a multi-title agreement with the streaming platforms. In another development, former Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, says the only interaction with the EFCC was to provide clarification on an alleged duplication of the recovery of Abacha loot. In a statement from his media office, Malami said the engagement had nothing to do with terrorism financing, money laundering, or ownership of multiple bank accounts. He described reports linking him to such allegations as false, misleading, and baseless, insisting that no security or intelligence agency in Nigeria or abroad has ever questioned him on those issues. He stressed that the EFCC only invited him to clarify matters relating to the $310 million Abacha loot recovered under the former President Buhari's administration. And now to politics. The People's Democratic Party has described the defection of Osun State's Governor Ademola Adeleke as that of a victim of circumstance. The comment was made by the party's factional National Publicity Secretary, Ini Ememobong, during a television interview. Well, more stories on that we'll bring to you in our subsequent bulletin. It is still the midday news right here on Voice of the People Television. We'll go straight to the analysis segment of the news now. And joining us now in the studio to make sense of these stories and more is Mr. Dele Fanimo, a seasoned reporter and also a public and political affairs analyst. Mr. Fanimo, a very good afternoon.
Good afternoon once again. I'm back on the beat.
Well, I like the fact that you said you're back on the beat because, I mean, that is what you practically stand for. More like a top reportage. All right, joining us virtually to also make sense of this story is Mr. Shedrack Udogba. Mr. Shedrack is SA Youth Affairs to former Governor of Edo State, Godwin Obaseki. Mr. Shedrack, a very good afternoon to you. Okay, I understand he's not with us right now. We expect him to join the conversation as we proceed. All right, let me start off with you, Mr. Fanimo. Interestingly, the People's Democratic Party has started talking, and of course, they've termed the defection of former, Governor of Osun State, Ademola Adeleke's defection to the Accord Party as a victim of circumstance.
They were out, I mean, he left their party.
Yes, because he left.
Yeah. Well, it is proper for them to situate the exit of a governor from their party, at least to give a semblance of we are still in touch with our people in the state. Okay. But the reality is that PDP is fast losing relevance, particularly towards the next election. Adeleke is just like somebody who knows, because of his political sagacity and people around him, that it is dangerous for anybody of means that wants to win election today to ride on the contraption called PDP.
Okay.
And so already there is a crisis in APC in Osun. Two people are jostling for the soul of the party in Osun.
But we hear also that Obishore has finally agreed to whoever the presidency gives to the state.
As at the time he was plotting, he had Obishore and Rauf Aregbesola to contend with, because Rauf Aregbesola, that's the fact that he has moved to ADC.
Right.
He still has his men on ground, and they could spoil things for the governor.
Before we go to our virtual guest, because I hear he's joined us right now, the concern about Rauf Aregbesola being a leader with the coalition ADC and not having that weight to pull the governor of his state, which of course he was also a former governor, to joining the ADC, isn't that a sign that it's not so weighty enough with the ADC?
There is no way Adegbeshola would bring Adeleke.
Why so?
To his fold, because they don't play politics on the same turf. And don't forget that there is this unseen hold of the current president on Osun State. People claim he's from Osun State, but he has not come out to say he is. That's one. Two, don't forget that Deji Adeleke, the patriarch of that family, is a very good business associate and friend
of the president.
To the president.
Right.
And so, and you know, as we speak today, Adegbeshola has constituted himself a foe to the current president. So where would they meet? Who is going to superintend over Adeleke? You know, so Adeleke is going to play the card of Fubara in the last local government election in Rivers State, where within 2 weeks to local government election, he moved all his party machinery and contestants to PPE, a relatively unknown party. And the whole local government was in his kitty. So a court that is devoid of rancor, devoid of litigation. And don't forget, I've always said it, and it's just an example of what I've been saying. There's no political party in Nigeria. We only have platforms.
That, again, is an interesting conversation, which I'm going to still take you with. But let's go to our virtual guest, and I'm talking about Mr. Shedrack Udogbai, former SA on youth affairs, to the former governor, Godwin Obaseki. Let's establish communication. A very good afternoon to you, Mr. Shedrack.
Pleasure being with you. Good afternoon, Nigerians.
Thank you so very much for joining the conversation on the midday news analysis. Let's start off from the conversation of your party, because I want to believe you're still with the PDP, because your principal at the time also was with the PDP. So right now, the PDP has clearly stated that Ademola Adeleke's defection from the PDP to, of course, Accord Party is as a result of the fact that he's a victim of circumstance. As a party person, not maybe at the national level, can you give a shed light to what that statement truly means, even from the perspective of a PDP person?
For us, for me, when I looked at the defection, because you do not move into political oblivion. I understand that there is a PDP, there is an APC, there is an ADC. And those are the three prominent political parties currently in Nigeria. Of course, the People's Democratic Party has its own peculiarities and challenges at the moment, where there are numerous, will I say, entities being engineered to endanger frustration into the party and to make it practically impossible for them to put themselves together. But there's an ADC to a large extent gives a signal of hope to the average Nigerian. But for Adeleke to have defected into the Accord Party, for me, I do not know if that party has the requisite structure, or perhaps he also believes he has moved all the structures of the People's Democratic Party into the Accord, and all of this, to a large extent, is what he will use to run for office in 2027. But the challenge you need to understand is that the APC are known for abstract manipulation of results. Against the APC in this under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a Herculean task. It's an uphill battle. The challenge is this: if he does not win overwhelmingly, it is easy for the APC to actually manipulate his results and give victory to the APC candidate, irrespective of his will. Because I see a situation whereby the APC will take a chunk of the vote. The Labour Party, for all its worth, may have a candidate that will take some portion of the votes. We used to know that SDP used to be popular in Osun State as at the last electoral result. They may take a chunk of the results. The ADC will take a chunk. If they share it like this, and the Adeleke in accord does not get over 50% or 60% of the votes, then if he comes out with 40% and maybe perhaps the others get 20, 30, 20, 30, it is easy for him to be rigged out. He had opened himself up for attract manipulation of results if he's not able to mobilize the people effectively. I certainly do not know the kind of acrimony he has with Ralph Aregbesola that appears to be irreconcilable. I do not understand why he has totally lost faith to the People's Democratic Party, because for me, I saw him the last time coming out to say he's endorsing Tinubu for presidency 2027. That looked like a child's play for me, being a chieftain of the PDP, but pledging loyalty to Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the APC. So I felt he was going to move into the APC. But the APC rejected him because they also have interest in bringing somebody. Because they believe that for you to be in APC today, anybody you bring, even if you bring a coconut, the coconut will eventually win because they have INEC in their pocket and they have the infrastructure of state security to move.
Well, that again is still your perspective.
But I do not see an advantage for ability.
Right. That again is your perspective. We wait, of course, until the elections have come and, of course, gone. But I'm still going to stay with you on this defection situation. From the G5 rebellion to Fubara in Rivers, and, of course, Adeleke in Osun State, the story is still the same. They keep saying this word, we are not protected by the PDP. Now, is this protection clearly talking about personal security, or is it about the happenstance of the fact that a lot of defections that clearly goes to the ruling party simply means a secured second term for whoever is defecting? Mr. Shedrack, that question is for you.
Yeah, the question I want to ask is this. When they say they were not protected by the PDP, who was hounding them? Who was oppressing them? And if they now move into the APC, I believe the only party that has the capacity to oppress anybody is the APC. So you move from the person who could not defend you to the man who was oppressing you. So that is to say, when you were being oppressed, was it the APC that gave you cover? Was it the APC that gave you succor? Was it the APC that gave you strength? It's just a political language, a cheap excuse that many of these governors use when they eventually want to move into the APC. I understand the peculiarities that the People's Democratic Party is not in the best of shape. But to now say you are going there for protection, it goes against the grain. Protection against what? You say you have rooted resources.
So sorry to butt in here. Ini, the PDP spokesperson, did say that they fed the monster that eventually consumed it. So if the PDP as a party cannot curtail a monster, so to say, in her party, should Nigerians trust that same party going into 2027?
For the case of Fubara, who made that derogatory statement, you see, we have senators, we have ministers in Edo State, and the minister is not controlling the governor. We have a senator, a former governor, who practically brought, who campaigned with Adamsali Oshomole, who brought Okpebolo from relative obscurity and made him governor. Okpebolo is still not controlled by Adamsali Oshomole. So if Fubara now chooses to be an apron string of Yes on Wike, not having the capacity or the balls or the temerity to create a demarcation as who is governor of Rivers State, because he falls to the wings and crevices of one SY leader, and now he now begins to blame People's Democratic Party for a governor who cannot take charge of his state. Who does he want to come and help him fight Yes or Wike in Rivers State? When you and I know that Yes or Wike had moved into the APC, he's enjoying the largesse of the APC, and is working under Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So for me, I see of politics. Came into politics, bring blood from the back door as a career civil servant, a mayor Kata General of the state, was never a House of Assembly member, never a local government chairman, was nothing else, nothing politics, just to stop with power, become governor, and his crime far. When Yes or Wike was governor, Amechi was a minister in an opposition party. Did Wike cry that nobody helped him? Did he defect? So he should keep those cheap excuses. And when you talk about we not being able to put the monster in place, you saw the last convention we had. The convention is the highest decision-making body of the party. And there, we unanimously and wholeheartedly suspended all the miscreants. Yes or Wike, Samayawu,
but there was another counter convention. There was another counter meeting, rather.
That's a kangaroo meeting. Now, you and I know what is obtainable in the Nigerian political discourse. Where people just abrogate powers to themselves. They go into a room, because they have the capacity to buy media, they will bring your channel, they bring their television stations together, and they make some business that cannot be substantiated. Because we know that the APC controls the courts, they will go and collect some watery pepper soup judgment that has no bearing on the party affairs, just to frustrate government. And because you also know that INEC is also an extension of the APC, INEC refuses to come for the convention in an attempt to invalidate the convention.
Oh well, there was a subsisting order from the court. There was a subsisting order from the court, and of course the INEC is also obeying that court order, don't you think so? All right. I think
a subsisting order from the APC court.
Well,
when you say subsisting order,
I'm gonna still come back to you, Mr. Shedrack. Let me bring it back to the studio while I get to another story. Well, Mr. Fanimo, interestingly, Malami is clearly saying that the engagement he had with the EFCC has nothing to do with terrorism financing, money laundering, or whatever it is that we see in the public space. But concerns are being raised about the fact that truly, if that is the case, why is his passport still sitting with the EFCC? And of course, what does that say about the seriousness of such investigation? Clearly, from the overview of a layman in the streets of Nigeria.
You see, the modus operandi of EFCC gives me goose pimple anytime issues like this come up. Why is it that investigation bordering on internet fraud takes probably 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and they get conviction when they are arraigned in court? EFCC shouldn't have allowed somebody like Malami to be giving us whatever information that he feels like, that he fancies, that could assail him at this time.
In other words, they should have that information.
They should have everything. They should have concluded investigation to the level that they just want to add his own testimony to whatever investigation they have. I mean, these are not rocket science. And that's why I always give this analogy. A governor in this country was given 139 charges, and the court said, go and sin no more. That same governor, in another crime, was charged with just 13. And in 2 appearances, he pleaded guilty based on the advice of his lawyer, a Queen's Counsel, equivalent of Senior Advocate of Nigeria here. And he served his time and came back to a heroic welcome in Nigeria. So what are we saying? Everybody saw what Malami was doing during Abacha's time. You recall that he bought SUVs to emirs and sheikh. How much was his salary when he was buying those vehicles? Now he still has money to contest as governor of his state. 2-3 years after he left office. Does that not speak for you? And then the EFCC, this is a country where police will arrest you and start asking you, are you a criminal? When did you steal last? I mean, it's stupidity.
Now, Mr. Fanimo, interestingly, Malami did argue that a recovery is not complete until the money hits the Federation account. That was his own argument. But the process could not, of course, be cleared because there was a duplication by, and of course he said it could not be cleared by the fact that there was a duplication by a Swiss lawyer. Isn't that on its own clearly a sophisticated corruption?
Let me tell you, there is no way.
I'm trying to use the right word for it.
The EFCC will not call Malami to come and explain Abacha loot. Since Obasanjo became
it started from there actually.
President, we have been hearing of Abacha loot that have been recovered. How much did they recover during Buhari's regime? It was a fraction of what they recovered before Buhari came into government. And for crying out loud, there is a sitting attorney general. it is that office that should be investigated and not Malami.
In collaboration with the CBN, you will say?
Yes! They should invite Cardoso and Fagbemi. The records are there. Let them bring out the records.
Well, big time. Let me, because of our time, really, let's go to our virtual guest. Well, Mr. Shadrach, again, what's your position with this conversation about the formal AGF? Again, he's come out to say, look, whatever you saw in the media is untrue. I was not being accused of any terrorism financing. And, of course, all of what you see. But the question is being raised, like I said earlier to Mr. Fanimo, why was his passport or is still with the EFCC? Why is his passport still with the EFCC? Big question.
You know, what we see now is that the EFCC is being used as a witch hunting tool to intimidate Abubakar Malami back into the APC. You know, since the man declared that I was going to be joining the ADC and was going to be contesting for governor, the whole thing seem as one of the arrowheads of the Buhari loyalists in the camp of the former president. And as such, that today, why is EFCC not training the claims they have against him and the challenges they have? But they're trying to give him a stop now so that his image is not bad. So that should the case decide to return back to the APC, they will say, he was never indicted for any criminal offense. He was just being brought out to be persecuted on the Abacha route. But yet, we saw him leave DSS office for 2 days. He was a man that was once said to be one of the most powerful ministers we've had during the time of Buhari, who even appointed his boy to be EFCC chairman. So what are we talking about? This is just that we can't hear the negotiations that went behind there, but we shall know the man hands are not clean.
Mr. Shadrach, I have to button here. Maybe in just 30 seconds, give us your submission on the fact that the House of Rep, yes, has summoned Cardoso on the 16 trillion revenue non-remittance from the CBN. And of course, what also do you think about the situation of former Information Minister Alhaji Lai Mohammed also said nobody died during the NSAS protest? 30 seconds, if you can, please, before we come back to the student roundup.
You know, for me, they say that nobody died in the NSAS. To say that nobody died in the NSAS is a lie, a very awkward, ugly, and irritating lie. That should not be coming.
Fortunately, really. Well, this is where we have to draw anchor on the analysis segment of the African news. And of course, we have been talking with Mr. Dele Fanimo, a seasoned reporter right here in Nigeria, and also a political and public affairs analyst. Mr. Fanimo, thank you so very much for being here. Also, we had virtually Mr. Shadrach Udobai, SA Youth Affairs, to former Governor of Edo State, Godwin Obaseki. Mr. Shadrach, thank you so very much for also being here as well. We'll take a very short break right now. When we return, more stories on the Midday News will be up next. Please do stay with us. All right, I'm glad to have you back. It is still the Midday News right here on Voice of the People Television. Now to more stories. The Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, and the Nigerian Guild of Editors are calling on the federal government to release all persons detained for peaceful expression as the world marks Human Rights Day 2025. They also want to end to the intimidation and harassment of journalists. Both groups made a call at the joint news conference in Ikeja. The NGE General Secretary Onoha Uke and SERAP's Deputy Director Kolawole Uluwadari addressed the briefing. The news conference followed the interactive session on strategies and legal tools to protect civic space and media independence in Nigeria. SERAP and the NGE warned of rising attacks on media professionals, noting that 56 journalists were assaulted or arrested in August 2024 alone while covering demonstrations nationwide. Elsewhere in Edo State, civil society organizations took to the streets of Benin City in commemoration of Human Rights Day, engaging residents and raising awareness on the importance of protecting and upholding their fundamental rights. Our correspondent in Benin City, Rhoda Johnny, has more details in this report.
In commemoration of Human Rights Day, starting from the Moses House in Benin City and handing out flyers to people walking and driving before proceeding to Selu Market to sensitize traders and shoppers on their rights. The outreach focused on this year's theme, Know Your Fundamental Rights, aimed at educating citizens about the freedoms and protections guaranteed under the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Organizers explained the importance of being aware of one's rights, particularly in areas such as fair treatment, freedom of expression, and access to justice.
The essence today, we will say that we are out here today to also speak to the government of Edo State, particularly the Governor Monday Okpebolo, using the World Human Rights Day as a speaking point that the level of insecurity in Nigeria is very, very bad. We are very scared now more than ever. We have heard rumors of the bandits or the terrorists already been in our bushes, and we think that the governor should wake up to his responsibility to galvanize and place high incentive on the vigilante, the one they call Edo State Security Network, so that these guys can be on salaries and they can be well equipped with good arms and ammunition, so that they can be able to comb our bushes and our environment to scare away, because we cannot say to apprehend, to scare away and chase away all those bandits and terrorists that are already traveling from the north to the southern side of Nigeria.
We are in a country where human rights is not respected at all, but it took knowledge that takes us knowledge to this level that we are now, and that's why we are today also to sensitize our people, because it's only when you are aware of your rights you'll be able to stand for it. So the essence for this march is to call Edo people and Nigeria at large to understand that they have a right, a constitutional right, that they can at any time demand for when necessary.
We are out here today to sensitize the public about knowing their rights as a woman, as a man, as children, as youths. We are trying to liberate our citizens from our oppressors. So that's why we are out today, to actually enlighten people on what it takes to know your rights.
At Uselu Market, flyers were handed to traders and shoppers, while interactive discussions helped clarify common misconceptions about citizens' rights. The campaign also highlighted the role of civic engagement in fostering a peaceful and inclusive society. In Benin, Rhoda Johnny, VOP TV News.
And now to some business stories. The Federal Executive Council has approved the design and construction of a new Bank of Industry headquarters at Eko Atlantic City in Lagos State as part of the government's push to strengthen Nigeria's industry and financial structure. The announcement was made by the Minister of State for Industry, Trade and Investment, Senator John Omar Enor, after the FEC meeting presided over by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in Abuja. Enor said the new headquarters will serve as a central hub for the BAL's expanded role in financing industrial growth, SMEs, and export-oriented manufacturing. The council also approved the purchase of 200 electric buses for the National Automotive Design and Development Council, a move aimed at boosting Nigeria's automotive sector and promoting cleaner energy solutions. And from business, we'll go straight to talking sports. Nigerian footballer Victor Osimhen has been named Gentleman Quarterly Turkey Sportsman of the Year. And the 26-year-old received the award at a black tie event in Istanbul. The annual prize, organized by GQ Turkey, celebrates achievers across music, film, and sports. Osimhen earned the honor after a stellar season with Galatasaray, scoring 37 goals and providing 7 assists in 41 games, helping the club clinch the League title. He has also continued his form this season, netting 11 goals in 14 matches. And from sports, we'll go straight to talking entertainment. The Lagos creative scene came alive as award-winning actor and filmmaker Wale Ojo premiered his latest project. This is not an Hollywood movie. The event drew filmmakers, culture enthusiasts, and supporters of the new wave African cinema all gathered to witness the bold, genre-defined production. Our correspondent, Precious Agumano, brings you more details on the red carpet.
Electric at the Lagos premiere of This Is Not a Nollywood Movie, a film already generating conversation for its daring title and unconventional storytelling. Directed by celebrated actor Wale Ojo, the project challenges the boundaries of traditional Nigerian filmmaking, blending satire, social commentary, and experimental visual. Guests arrived in style as filmmakers, influencers, and film lovers shared their excitement for a movie that promises to push the conversation on what Nigerian cinema can become. Backed by a team of vibrant creative, Wale Ojo says the film aims to spotlight identity, art, and the evolution of African stories beyond stereotypes.
Man, I like the name. Yeah. This is not a Nollywood movie. I'm not expecting anything Nollywood. I'm expecting extra.
To be candid, I know with the lineup of actors here, we're about to see something great. So I'm here to have fun, see a great film, to relax, and support a friend.
Just expect that it's not a Nollywood movie first. Expect to be entertained. Expect to laugh. Expect to dance while watching. Trust me, it's a totally different movie from the usual.
They've told us already it's not a Nollywood movie. So let's see if we're going Hollywood, Bollywood, or Firewood.
I think it's going to be fantastic, you know, like obviously Boma produced it. Wale Ojo is amazing. Like Breath of Life is one of my favorite Nigerian movies ever. So like, yeah, man, this is not a Nollywood movie. I'm expecting greatness.
I'm expecting something out of the box. Like the name says, this is not the Nollywood movie. So I'm expecting something out of the norms.
From laughter to applause, the audience reaction inside the screen hall left no doubt. This is a film created to challenge norms and spark deeper reflection among viewers. As the credits roll, many describe the movie as bold, experimental, and a cinematic risk worth taking. I am Precious Agumano for Voice of the People TV.
Well, thank you so very much, Precious, for that particular reportage. Well, that is how we end the midday news right here on Voice of the People Television. Do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel. On YouTube, we're at Voice of the People TV, and on all other social media platforms, we are at VOP TV Live. Top of the hour, 1 p.m. Nigerian time, would be Spotlight with Precious Agumano. I am David Edwin. Do have a good afternoon.
VOP TV. Now, you have more than a voice.
This is African News on Voice of the People Television, where we don't just bring you the news, we bring you Africa's heartbeats, the policies that shapes our world, and the economy that determines our future. African News on Voice of the People Television. Stay with us.
In a world where truth is the ultimate power and opinions scream the loudest, it's time to wade through the noise